Hello. This is going to be a really long story about how I ended up staying with a racist Airbnb host for 7 months. To start from the beginning, so the rest of the story makes sense, I was still living with my mom after I turned 18. My relationship with my mom went south when I turned 13 and hasn't been the same since. I don't like her, I don't trust her. Despite living with her, I almost never interacted with her. She creeps me out, and I no longer have any contact with my other family members, so I couldn't move in with them. I actually tried friending my aunt a few years ago when I was 15, and she rejected my invite. So, yeah, that's how my life is. I literally have no one. Things started to get worse in early 2018. This was around the time I wanted to be an actress and I was trying to get my first job. My mom has paranoid schizophrenia, and growing up with her mental illness was never this bad. Lately, it's been so bad to where she makes up these stories about me being involved with the neighbors. Like, really crazy shit. Like, on one hand, she thinks I got raped by the guy next door, and on the other hand, she thinks I'm giving them money and food. And it got so freaking intolerable that I had to call 911 to get her temporarily locked in a hospital for a month. It was really bad. The doctors were freaking useless, by the way. Like, they were asking me all of these questions, and it was almost like they didn't know what schizophrenia was. And these were medical professionals. It felt like they weren't taking it seriously, and it was very irritating. And I'm like, okay, if the hospitals aren't helping, like, where do I get help with her? Because I don't know how to deal with her. But that's a whole story for another day. So, fast forward to 2020, and the same shit has been going on for 2 years, and I'm still living with this bitch because where I live is so expensive to live on your own. You gotta make like $150,000 a year to qualify for a decent apartment. But I definitely did not want a roommate at that point, so that was not an option. So late 2020 arrives, and I'm scrambling to try and earn whatever I can to get my own place. It's so bad that I'm thinking maybe I can make money on swag bucks or any other type of survey website. And that ended up being ridiculous because there's no way you can make like 2,000 a month on surveys. Like, you would literally have to work like maybe 20 hours a day to accomplish that. So I ended up having to use my savings to move out. And my patience is wearing thin. I'm arguing with this lunatic every week about her delusions. And it's so stressful and it's taking a toll on my mental health. I'm so unhappy and so miserable all the time. Like, from April, like late March, early April, all the way to December was just a miserable, miserable time for me. And it got so bad that she actually ended up stealing my stuff and hiding it in her room because she thinks I'm going to give my own stuff to the neighbors. Like, she literally thinks I'm financially supporting them. But in the next breath, she will say that they're selling me to drug dealers. Like, she literally wrote me an email saying that she thought that the neighbors were selling me, like human trafficking. It was, I had to block her email. There was one incident where our next door neighbor damaged our door on purpose, and this is the same neighbor that my mom was accusing me of being involved with. My mom and this neighbor are always getting into arguments, so that's why this neighbor damaged our door. The next door neighbor is really ghetto. I would never associate with someone like that. She mistreats her children. She's always arguing in the hallway with other people, and she's just a very dysfunctional person. So the fact that my mom would think I would ever get involved with someone like that was insulting. And I called the police because of the damage on our door. And the cop was racist as fuck. I cursed him out for being racist because he refused to do anything, and he was accusing me of a crime I didn't commit. He was like pointing to a mark on the door of the neighbors and saying that I did that. Like, there was like a smudge on the door, and he was saying that I did that and that he was going to arrest me for that. Like, he was trying to incriminate me for something that I didn't do because he didn't want to just punish a white person on behalf of a black person. So he was trying to scare me into not pressing charges, saying if I press charges, he was going to arrest me as well, and saying how both of y'all are going to jail. And that's the thing with white supremacists. They can't just punish the white person. They always have to do the both sides are wrong. Both of you are wrong. Like, the black person is just as bad as the white person if the white person did something bad. Like, they can't just punish the white person. And I was just fuming. And I was just like panicking, and I was just so upset because I've never been arrested before. I don't have a criminal record. I've never been in handcuffs. And the fact that I was about to be arrested for something I never did, I was so fed up, and I cursed him out. I was so mad. I was literally going off on him. I called him like every name in the book. I didn't care what he did to me at that point. I was like, okay, if you're gonna arrest me for something, then arrest me for something that I actually did. Because I was like going off on him. And I'm so sick of dealing with racism. That's like the number one thing that I've been dealing with for the past 8 years. Like, it really does take a toll on my life. Then, when the cops left after I cursed them out, my mom had the nerve to say, I think you called the cops because you stopped giving them money. Meaning, she thinks the neighbor messed with our door because I'm not giving them any more food and money. She couldn't get it through her head that the neighbor damaged our door because she keeps fighting with them. This whole thing had nothing to do with me, yet I was caught in the middle of it. I've never really had an actual interaction with the neighbors. I've never met the man that lives there. I've argued with the woman that lives over there because she was calling me out my name and bringing me into the middle of it, even though, again, I have nothing to do with any of it. And that's the common theme with my life. My mom does stupid shit, and then I end up getting caught in the crossfire. And I get punished for it while she can walk away unscathed. And I'm very confused at how that keeps happening. Like, how the fuck does she keep getting away with all the things that she does? Like, it negatively affects me the most. And so I'm bawling my eyes out at this point because I don't know what to make of the situation that just happened. Because I'm dealing with someone who doesn't live on planet Earth anymore. And I feel like my life is in danger because now the situation is escalating. Now the cops are getting involved. Our property is getting damaged, and now I'm being threatened with arrest because of the color of my skin. And so I'm like, I gotta get the heck out of here. And it was no less than 2 hours after the cops left that I'm crying nonstop, and I'm like having a mental breakdown. So I decided to try and find a place on Airbnb. I never wanted to deal with Airbnb because of the racist shit that black people have to go through on that platform. Plus, they don't help people when dealing with bed bugs. They're just a really sketchy company in general. But I was so desperate at this point. I was like, fuck it. Life can't get any worse than this. And my biggest mistake was choosing the first place I found affordable on there, which was $800 a month. The place looked decent from the pictures, and I only had to share it with one other person in the upstairs of the house. This was a dream come true because Verbo was way too expensive. Like, every other website was expensive. Every hotel was expensive. The only affordable hotels were places that you had to share the bathroom with 20 other people. So no freaking way am I doing that. So I ended up getting this place, and I moved in a month later. Mind you, I met the host of this place shortly after booking it. She wanted me to come over and check the place out. I really didn't want to because it was far away, but I went anyway because I didn't want to seem weird and skittish. Like, I wanted her to feel comfortable. So I visit her house, and she's showing me around. Everything's cool. And then I end up tripping and falling because of a Christmas wreath that she had in her house. And the ironic thing is that I avoided this Christmas wreath that she had to avoid getting injured. And I ended up getting injured by avoiding the wreath. So I ended up injuring my knee. It took I think maybe 8 months for my knee to completely heal. and I had to go to the hospital. But before I went to the hospital, this bitch makes a comment about my weight and how my weight could affect my knee. When she said that, I was fuming. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I get hurt 10 minutes after arriving at your house. I'm nice to you. I'm apologizing. I'm like apologizing for getting hurt in her own home. Literally saying out loud how embarrassed I was because I tripped and fell in front of her minutes after meeting her, and it was just embarrassing. It was just a really bad first impression, and I expressed that to her, and I was in excruciating pain. And the last thing I needed to hear was a comment about my weight. And that's a whole nother thing. Like, I think she's not only racist, but she's fat phobic as well. So I'm fuming, but I keep my cool. Right there is when I just did not like her. That was like the first red flag. Unfortunately for me, I already booked this place. So if I canceled this reservation, Airbnb would keep the service fee and they would charge me for the first month because I already booked for 7 months. So I would have been out like $1,500 with a busted knee. That wasn't an attractive alternative. So I had no other choice but to stay at this woman's house. I literally have the worst luck if you haven't guessed already. After moving in a month later, I was fake nice to her for the first couple of weeks. And then I started getting accused of things I didn't do, like leaving messes in the kitchen. I will admit I did leave one mess after heavy cooking, but that was only because I was tired from cooking, so I did wait an hour before cleaning. Plus, my roommate works late, so it wasn't like I was inconveniencing her. That was the only time I ever made a mess. The woman who was my roommate was white, and she had a reputation for being dirty. And this was what the host told me before I even moved in. And after moving in, I witnessed this myself. This roommate would leave hair clumps in the tub to the point where the water wouldn't go down. She did this several times over the course of my stay, and she only showered once a week. She works 12-hour days, 5 days a week, and only showers once a week. So this only happened once a week, so that's why I never really brought it up to her right away. And plus, I had just moved in, so I didn't want to already have a confrontation with someone. And not only that, she left hair strands on the wall in the bathroom. She would leave dirty dishes that would pile up for days, and the host wouldn't say shit to her. Instead, the host would just scuff about it and would clean up the kitchen and not say anything to the roommate. About twice a month, the host would come upstairs to clean, and she saw dishes in the sink, and she marched to my room, getting ready to tell me off about something that she thought I did, and I had to correct her. Like, I was very calm, cool, and collect when correcting her, but I was like, hey, I did not leave this here. And I had to tell her that was not my mess. All that mess belonged to the roommate. Let's get that straight. And then she had a nerve to say something back to me, like, okay, well, I have to talk to her too. And I didn't respond to that. Instead, I was thinking, too? Like, what do you mean, too? I didn't do anything wrong. She's the one that's leaving all that crap in the kitchen. Why is it that when I did one mistake, I get lectured about it, or she was trying to lecture me about it? Meanwhile, the white roommate doesn't get lectured for all of the dirt that she leaves behind. And that was my issue. Like, if you have such a problem with cleanliness, treat us both the same. Don't ignore what someone else is doing and only focus on one person, or accuse someone of doing something that they're not responsible for. You're letting this dirty broad get away with leaving piles of dishes every day, but I leave a head of lettuce and a garlic clove on the kitchen counter and the world is suddenly ending. So again, if cleanliness is the problem, treat us both the same. And that's another thing. I overheard the host talking shit about me 2 months after moving in. This was the same time the roommate didn't wash any of her dishes for a week. The host called the roommate out of her bedroom and to the kitchen. And I was thinking, okay, maybe the host is finally going to tell her to wash her dishes. Instead, guess what? Instead, I overheard the host say, "I've never met such a dirty person in all of my life." And when I heard that, I was stunned. I was in complete shock. Because up until now, I knew there was no way in hell the host would be stupid enough to bother me about messes when the roommate was clearly being the messy one. She would look like a straight up racist if she did that. And what do you know? I was wrong. And when I heard that, I was like, wow, this bitch is really racist. Like, I'm being treated unfairly, and I was so fucking mad. And I quickly get my clothes on, because this was early in the morning, and I was still in my pajamas. I grab my phone and I record the conversation. And if you know me, I confronted this bitch. And I could hear the panic in her voice when she realized that I heard everything she said. I even caught this on video.
For anything, I'm trying to come to a resolution in a peaceful manner.
I would love to do that, but I don't like being blamed for your mess. I clean up my stains. I'm not going to clean up after your stains.
That's okay.
So the stains you're seeing are yours. The little crumbs, the little seasoning crumbs, that's you.
That's totally fine.
See this work out, you know? And Lisa, you're a great tenant. Great tenant. You know, I mean, you should tell me what your problems you might have some with me because you're very angry. I just want to, make it better.
So how can we make this better?
Clean up after yourself.
Okay, and you do the same.
I've been doing it.
She was trying to backpedal and then accused me of leaving spaghetti sauce on the wall and stains in the fridge. And I'm like, I don't even eat spaghetti. What the heck are you talking about? The roommate is the one that cooks 2 weeks worth of spaghetti at least once a week. Like, she does such heavy cooking once a week and then eats spaghetti all week. And then my roommate had the nerve to chime in and tried to accuse me of things, and I cursed her out as well. Like, how dare you? This pig literally tried to blame me for her not cleaning up her own mess. She tried to say it was my fault that she didn't clean her own mess. She word for word said, "Sometimes the kitchen is so dirty, I don't feel like cleaning." And I'm like, what? What? Like, what? I'm like speechless at that point. Bitch, you are the one making the damn mess. You're the reason why the kitchen is so gross. And I told her off. Man, these white supremacists are really something else. It's so insane. It's absolutely insane. And then the host labeled me angry and violent. And I was reacting to the horrible things being said to me. So yeah, I'm gonna be fucking angry. And that's another thing racists like to do. They like to shame black people into not reacting. Like, black people are supposed to lay down and take abuse. And when we stand up for ourselves, we're violent and angry. And I have a video clip of her labeling me violent and angry twice. And this is why I didn't want to deal with Airbnb, because of these racist ass hosts. This is why it took me so long to move away from my mom, because I didn't want a roommate. I wanted to wait until I could afford my own place, but my mom is so batshit crazy I couldn't take it anymore. And this is a perfect example of why I didn't want a freaking roommate. And to top it off, once it was proven that I wasn't the one leaving all the mess behind, the host still treated me like shit. So this never had anything to do with who was actually right and wrong, who was actually cleaning up after themselves. It was all about race. I even brought up the fact that the host herself told me before I moved in that the roommate was kind of messy, because the host tried to say none of these problems occurred until I moved in. And I had to remind her, I had to jog her memory that, hey, you're the one that told me the roommate was messy before I even moved in. So that was further proof that I was being treated unfairly. And on top of that, the host tried to deny even saying that. So that was just like, that just sealed the deal for me. Like, this host is a white supremacist. I even texted her pictures of the food splatter that the roommate left behind in the fridge after the argument occurred. Like a couple of days after the whole argument happened, I texted her pictures of what this roommate of all the sauce splatter in the fridge. It was in clear view and the roommate still did not wipe it up. So she was the one leaving stains all over the walls. And in case you're wondering, no, I did not move out because I had nowhere else to go. And I couldn't find a black Airbnb host. So if I moved in with other non-blacks, it was going to be the exact same racist dynamic. Not only was the host racist, but her husband was a tyrant as well. I had to put him in check a couple of times and left him speechless because he really thought he was going to get away with talking to me any type of way, and I just was not going to tolerate it. I even thought about not paying rent anymore and just staying there for free until getting evicted, just to be petty. I knew I had tenant rights, so they couldn't just kick me out right away. And because of COVID, I wasn't going to get evicted anytime soon. And I was thinking of all the money they were going to have to spend trying to evict me. And I ended up not doing that for the sake of my mental health. I kind of regret not going the petty route. But I was so worried that Airbnb wouldn't allow me to book anywhere else if I didn't finish paying for this one. Because it's not only paying rent to these hosts, but they also get that service fee every month. And Airbnb is my only option when it comes to living away from my mom. And the thought of being trapped with my mom again terrified me because if it wasn't for Airbnb, I would still be there. Truth be told, living back with my mom was way worse than living with these racists. Like, if you can believe that. So, after the whole argument I had with the host and the roommate, it gets slightly worse. A month goes by, and the roommate does some stupid shit all over again. She left a big bag of garbage in the hallway, and it was really big. And the hallway is really small, and the bag was so big it blocked the entrance to the kitchen. And I didn't confront her right away about it. I waited a whole day before even saying anything, and I was trying to give her time to throw it away. And it's not like she never left her room. She was up and down the stairs several times, leaving the house several times all day. So at any time, she could have picked this bag up and thrown it out on her way out, and she didn't. So it didn't make any sense. A day goes by, and I calmly go to her door and ask her about the bag, and she said she will throw it away later, and I ask her when because the bag is making it difficult to get to the kitchen. And she gets an attitude with me, and she has the nerve to say, "You're causing strife." Like, how the heck am I causing strife for telling you to throw your garbage away? That's that white supremacist Karen mentality, that white woman victim shit. And I end up having to curse her out all over again because she is so insufferable. The first time I cursed her out, I didn't actually curse or name call. I just shouted at her because she was just so unbelievably stupid. And the second time, I had to call her out her name because she is such a lazy, inconsiderate slob. I told her she was lazy, and that was the only way to get her in check. It really frustrates me that I have to get really loud, be taken out of my comfort zone, just to get it through someone's head that they're being inconsiderate.
What?
I said you are causing hostility where there doesn't need to be any. I will take it out.
You've left this in the hallway? You've left this in the hallway for over a day. I thought you were going to take it out yesterday, which is why I didn't say anything.
I will take it out.
Lazy.
I don't need these boxes, right?
And I don't need this box here. You told me not to leave boxes in the kitchen, but you're leaving this out right in the doorway of the kitchen. That makes it difficult to get in and out. It makes no sense. You've been up and down the stairs several times, and it makes no sense that you're not taking it out in a timely manner.
Lisa, you have enough boxes for weeks. Just give me a day, okay?
Boxes for weeks?
You are causing strife. Please stop. I told you I will take it out.
When have I caused strife?
You're doing it right now.
Because you left this out in the hallway for over a day, and we have to tiptoe around it.
Lisa, I said I will take it out. Just stop.
It's been over a day, and you wouldn't have done unless I said something.
Get over it. I will take it out.
Take it out. Shut up. Fucking cunt.
You're so fucking mature.
And you're a dirty slob. And you did it on purpose just to make the living situation more uncomfortable.
I
These over 24 hours is no excuse. You're just lazy. You're lazy. You're lazy. You are lazy. You are lazy.
So, yeah, if you are a black person, I strongly suggest trying to find a black host if possible, especially if you're living with the host and have non black roommates. I'm staying at another Airbnb with a black host, and the guy is a really stand up guy. He treats everyone the same no matter what race they are. He's a breath of fresh air in comparison. I don't constantly feel on edge. Living with the other host made my anxiety go through the roof. I was walking on eggshells. I was like, oh my god, is this the day I'm gonna have to curse someone out? Like, because I don't like arguing. I don't like confrontation. I don't like being upset where I live. It was so bad. And you're probably wondering, why the heck did it take you so? Why did you stay for so long if it was really that bad? It must have not really been that bad if you stayed for so long, for 7 months. I had nowhere else to go. And I'm thinking, I'd rather stay here because at least I know what I'm getting myself into than to go back with my mom. Even if I moved to a different Airbnb, like who's to say the racial dynamic wouldn't be the same way? So I might as well stay here and tough it out. And so, yeah, that's how 2021 started for me. It was pretty shitty all year round. So, yeah, I'll make more storytime videos, and I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this, and I hope you subscribe to me. If you want, you can subscribe to my other account, Wanker Reviews, where I do movie reviews. So, that would be much appreciated. Thank you for listening.